So, welcome, my dear Rotarians and friends. Myself, Srikanth, President of Rotary Club Visakhapatnam, invite you cordially for this program on the education on investments after this COVID. Let us officially call this meeting to order on this event of this investment learning on the 13th of September on Zoom conference. This Welcome. So now I would like to give some information about what is the purpose of this meeting, and we have CIL team also over here who would like to give a word and address the club before we start up with the program. So the main purpose of having this particular event in this system and this period, especially COVID, is totally different because COVID time only, there are many businesses that have come to a stop, and there are many investment systems that have pivoted from the traditional method into a new term. అనుకున్నటువంటి స్పైక్ ఉన్నటువంటి కంపెనీలన్నీ కూడా they have gone for a pause, and unexpected companies have taken a surge, and there are so many differences in different scenarios are going on regularly. So in this scenario, this particular meeting is especially meant to throw some light on how the investments can be made by one of the experts who is with us today. So in this regard, I request Mr. Pankaj to address the club for a minute.
Mr. Srikanth sir, President
Yes, sir.
Vizag Rotary Club of Visakhapatnam, and thanks to the Rotarian for giving us opportunity to have this investor awareness program. And I give this opportunity to our trainer, is very senior ex-banker also, to start this program. Please.
So nice of it, sir. So this program is in association with SEBI, who has actually triggered this particular move of, what do you say, creating awareness across the country. And they are doing it throughout the nation. And there are so many organizations and financial institutions who are coming forward sponsoring these programs. And CIL is the host partner who is getting this program done. So now I request Mr. Chand to introduce our speaker of the day. Mr. Chand is also a financial expert over here, and he is a member of Rotary Club of Visakhapatnam in the board. Please, Mr. Chand.
Thank you, President Srikanth. Good morning to President Srikanth, then the speaker of today's event, Sri Upadhyayala Subramanya Sharma Garu, and co-host Pankaj Srivastavaji, and my fellow Rotarians, as well as non-Rotarians, who are there as participants to take advantage of this particular, event. Now I take the privilege of introducing Upadhyayala Subramanya Sharma Garu, who is a postgraduate MCOM from Andhra University, Visakhapatnam. That's his basic academical qualification. Then he worked as Assistant General Manager with SBI. Later, he is now with SBI Mutual Fund as Vice President. And he is also a empaneled trainer for NISM and also for CEET and SBI Mutual Fund and American, Institute Academy for NGT, and other few institutes where he attends for training the people on investment awareness. We are very happy to have him with us, and he's going to throw us light on investment opportunities post-COVID-19. We are all eagerly waiting to hear from him, and we welcome him, and he can take over the meeting proceeding.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chand Garu, for such a nice introduction of our speaker today. So, dear friends and Rotarians, the floor will be handed over to our speaker of the day. And at the end of this program, there will be question and answer sessions also where we can clarify any of our questions. So not only that, this COVID has given a sharp U-turn for many investments, many structures, and many graphs across the globe. So this is the period, and this is just a beginning for us to enter into the new domain and to understand more about it. Thank you so much. And I request Sri Subramanya Sharma Garu to please preside the chapter. Yes, sir. Pankaj, can we see him?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, sir. We'll be starting it shortly. I think some network issues. Yeah, let him come, sir. He's actually network. He's there only. He's on line only, but it's not getting connected. So Mr. Pankaj is coordinating with Mr. Subramanian to bring him online again. Just a minute. And Ante Kapunda, Pankaj Garu actually he is a Telugu person, I think. Yes, he is from Andhra Pradesh. Now he is in Telangana after all his journey across the country. So he will be a nice, what you say, speaker for sure. So in the meantime, mana PDG Raj Garu, sir, are you there, sir? Guruji? I would like to recognize the various presidents of District 3030 and other districts of the country, and as well as the district officers and the PDGs over here.
Hello. Shrikant sir, have you got my voice?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Actually, some problem with the Subramaniam sir laptop.
Yes,
So he's
okay.
Start. So I'll just start, and once he's comfortable, then we'll.
Yes, that will be great, sir. That will be great. Sure, we can start.
Welcome all Rotarians. This is basically an investor awareness program. It's an initiative of SEBI, and we'll discuss basically how and when we have to plan for the financial planning after COVID. This is our discussion, and I meanwhile start, and once the my trainer will join, so I'll give this forum to him. So once we discuss for the investor education, we have to keep in our mind one thing, that what we have to plan and how we have to do it. The thing is that we have to start with the saving. First part of life is saving. We start with the, start earning, and then we start the saving part. The wrong part of the business is what we do, that we start spending and we are not doing the investment. But what we have to do, firstly, we have to earn, we have to save, and then we have to do the spending. What we are currently doing, that we are earning, we are spending, and then the rest of the thing which left with us, then we plan for the saving. This is the wrong side of the basically investment part. So normally and ethically, what exactly is to be do by the people, that they have to start earning, saving, and then do the spending. And second is the thing, that wherever what we are having save, you have to be very careful during the investment, because if you are do a wrong investment, you will be in trouble in coming future. And the same thing has seen by the people earlier, those are doing the investment in a wrong business or wrong entities or wrong offers. World's topmost investor is Warren Buffett, sir. And what he has told that do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. And the same thing I have explained you earlier. And that is the quote of the world's #1 investor. Where is the problem is? The problem is that inflation. And you will see after COVID, the inflation has gone up like anything. Problem is that we don't have the things which are we have for the investment, because whatever the investment we are doing, that has to be eaten by the inflation. That is the major problem we are facing nowadays. So we have to be very careful that wherever we have to put our money, we should be very careful that the earning from that investment should be more than the inflation current rate. And if the that earning is not more than the inflation, so whatever you are earning, that is eaten up by the inflation, means whatever you earn, the same has been taken up by the inflation part. So you are onto the place where you are sitting at nil. Basically, where is the problem is? The problem is that whatever the investment home expenses of your home right now, if we are spending around 30,000 rupees today, after 5 years that has to be increased to 40,000, and after 15 years is 60,000, means doubled from this place. And after 20 years the same inflation comes up to 80,000 rupees, and you can very easily assess that at the time of you people has done a graduation, what the fees you are paying that time, and now what the van person has taken for your ward who's going to school. So you can consider this thing with the comparison of 30 years. You can understand whereas the expense ratio has come up as against to that the scenario and that time. What inflation exactly do? Like if you're keeping 1 lakh rupees in your, not in a bank, in your home. So after 5 years, if we keep it as an inflation, after 5 years, the value of 1 lakh rupees comes to 80,000 rupees. And after 15 years, the value of that amount is 50,000, means half of the value. So in the prior PPT, you have seen that the expenses are double in 15 years. And in this PPT, you have seen that amount, if you are keeping at your home, 1 lakh rupees is against 50% after 15 years. And after 20 years, the same amount of the 1 lakh rupees has come to 35,000, is 1/3 of the amount. So what is the basic solution for this thing? What has to be a safeguard you from the inflation? So the thing is that you have to start earning, and you have to start doing saving at the early age of your life. Secondly, keep money as well. That has to be give you a regular income. And as you have seen in the scenario of the COVID, so the people, those are having a second income somewhere, they are at least able to survive. And you are seeing still the problem is persisting. And the people, those are depend on the single income, they are into a big trouble due to this. Again, what I have explained to you, that never depend on single income, make investment to create a second source. So basically, a single income is given a tough time for the people nowadays. And those are people at least having a second source of income anyway. At least they make their business, make their family to be survive in this tough time, because one business is not working properly. So we have to be dependent on our second income, or like income of rental, like income of our mutual fund investment, like income of somewhere from where you are getting any amount, fixed amounts, like from FD. All these things has given at least a support to survive in this tough time. Basically, why we are doing the investment? Our point is that why we are doing the investment. And investment we are doing for 4, 5, 6 things. like for the higher education of our children, for our purchasing of a new car. We have to plan for that our abroad tour, which is post-COVID is possible. Nowadays, not possible. The people are planning for their home. That is true one thing for the investment for the longer time. And again, those are the people, those are into a business and those are professional. They had to plan for their retirement too, because once you retire, you cannot go beyond the level of your lifestyle. So for maintaining that lifestyle, at least you need same amount for your survival. And for that, you have to need to plan your retirement. And you have the timing of 30 to 35 years for planning for your retirement anyway. Now the thing is that what are the options available currently with the people? The options are, one thing is the property, and you have seen from 2008 to 2013, the property rates are increasing across the country and over the world also. But after 2013, what I have seen, the property rates are coming down, and the people still, before COVID also, they are not able to sell their property to raise amount. Secondly, the insurance, if you consider the insurance as an investment tool, the people are going for that. But earlier what is happening, the insurance has not gives you that return which saves you for the any unfortunate happening. But insurance is must in case of the person to at least cope up with the insecurity in life. Upadhyay sir, are you able to join? You kindly unmute yourself. Now you can take the call.
Yes, sir, definitely, sir.
Yeah, please continue.
Yes. I'm extremely sorry for the inconvenience.
Not at all.
Sir, now what are the various options available to us? అందులో మనం ఫస్ట్ మనం చెప్పేది ఏంటంటే ప్రాపర్టీలో ఇన్వెస్ట్ చేయొచ్చు. కాకపోతే ప్రాపర్టీలో ఉన్నది మనకి appreciation will be there, but returns will not be there. Even if it is house or flats, అక్కడ ఏమవుతుంది, రెంట్ వస్తుంది, కానీ ఆ రెంట్ is not a proportional income. Returns will not be there. But appreciation will be there, but risk of any occupation or anything, అవి కూడా ఉంటాయండి, కబ్జా చేసే అవకాశం ఉంది. వేరే ఇన్సూరెన్స్లో దాన్ని ఒక సోర్స్ సెక్యూరిటీ కింద చూడాలి, కానీ ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్ ఆప్షన్ కింద చూడలేము. ఇన్సూరెన్స్లో ఏమవుతుందంటే సమస్య ఏంటంటే రిటర్న్ వాళ్ళు తర్వాత రిటర్న్ ఇవ్వచ్చు, ఇట్ ఈస్ లెస్ దాన్ 6%. నెక్స్ట్ బ్యాంక్ డిపాజిట్స్, దే ఆర్ నాట్ యాక్చువల్లీ okay sir, as far as bank deposits are concerned, they are not actually competitive to inflation. The inflation is nowadays actually it is 7%. This as on last month it is 7% inflation. But whereas in bank deposits they are not giving more than 6%. Even that is the problem. So next, gold we can invest, but no returns will be there. But physical gold, it is security, everything is problem. Stocks are there. Stocks, well, if we are competent enough to judge in which stock we have to invest, and also when to invest, when to come out, if we know, but it is a time-taking process, and it needs professional knowledge also. So that is stocks also. Direct investment, it is risky. Next, bonds are there. Bonds, government securities, there is no problem, because government gives guarantee. There is it is a sovereign bond. But in case of companies, when to enter, when to exit, this is not actually possible in case of debentures. That risk is always there. So if we come to next slide. Yes, I will come to my this. Sir, I will share my presentation.
Very nice, better.
Yes. సో మరి మీకు ఆల్రెడీ సేవింగ్స్కి ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్కి డిఫరెన్స్ ఆల్రెడీ మీకు కవర్ అయింది కాబట్టి సేవింగ్స్లోకి వచ్చేసరికి వీ కెన్ సేవ్ ఇన్ ద లాకర్, వీ కెన్ సేవ్ ఇన్ ద సేవింగ్స్ బ్యాంక్ అకౌంట్, but inflation will eat away that money. So the main purpose of investment is to compete with inflation. When 7% inflation is there, our return should be higher than 7% after taxation. And whenever we want income, we should be able to get it. Otherwise, there is no purpose of investment. Next, investment, it should be easily accessible, and we can also use part amount also we should be able to withdraw whenever we need. This is actually, and it should also grow in value, and also it should be realizable whenever we want. At a lower cost, we should be able to realize it. These are the requirements of any investment. Then also it is called proper investment. And proper investment needs actually, it is allocation of assets. Because if you take thali, we cannot take only carbohydrates, that is rice. We also take actually vitamins, proteins, dals, and others. Like that, investment also, we need to invest in different classes of assets. But here also it is asset allocation. We should not keep all assets in one basket. We should all investments in one basket. So we need actually asset allocation should match our needs. Because some needs will be short-term needs, some will be long-term needs. Short-term needs, if you want even in the midnight also money, where you should invest only in banks, because the ATMs are available even in midnight. So the bank investment is also inevitable for urgent liquidity purpose. But everything we cannot see liquidity, we should also see get returns and growth in wealth building also. So we already discussed property, gold, these investments, they grow in value, but whenever you want, you cannot suddenly realize it. In property, you cannot sell it overnight and in few days also, like that. But equity shares also, you have to see the market. But if you come to the mutual bonds, if it is government bonds, anytime you can invest, and also you will get income on that one. National Savings Certificate also, they generate income. Public Provident Fund, they give interest periodically. Banks also pay interest. But mutual funds are useful both in growth in value as well as in generating income also. This is actually mutual fund. Then what is mutual fund actually? What mutual fund is actually, it is a trust. It is not a profitable, it is not working for any profits. It is only a trust. It is actually pooling money from the public and investing in different markets. That is equity market, debt market, and also money market. And the main purpose here is actually they invest as per the needs of the investor, not on their own. If your investment your horizon time is actually, if your the objective is actually what is the appreciation in value, and if you can wait for longer period, they will invest in equity market. If you want regular income, they will invest in debt market. And if you want to take moderate risk, they invest in the debt market. And anytime if you want money, they will invest in liquidity, that is money market. This is as per the needs of the investor only. Mutual funds invest in different market, and also as per the risk appetite of the investor. If the investor can absorb higher risk, it will be invested in equity market, but higher returns are possible only in equity. And if you can take moderate risk, they will invest in debt market, and if it is low risk, they will invest in money market. This is, and anybody with anybody with an investable surplus, he can invest even 1,000 rupees also. He can invest in crores of rupees. That is the opportunity available in mutual fund. And mutual fund is the most cost efficient, because how it will operate actually, it pulls money from the investors, and that money is invested by the fund manager in various securities, stocks and securities, as per the needs of the investor. If the investor need is growth and he can wait for longer period, they will invest in equity. Otherwise, income, then debt funds. Anytime money, liquidity means, then they will invest in money market. And whatever returns they earn, that will be passed on to the investors. Then how mutual funds survive? They are permitted by SEBI to charge professional fees. So they charge only professional fees, and they will not take any profits or losses. And why we should invest in mutual fund? Why can't we invest directly in the market? Because we can invest in mutual fund because it is managed by professionals. Professionals. It is a whole-time job for them. They are market experts. They will be watching the market. Accordingly, they will be investing. And mutual funds investments are transparent. They will be disclosing every investment, where they have invested the funds, and what is the risk appetite. All these things will be that will be available through fact sheets published by mutual funds. And anytime if you want money, you can go to mutual. If it is open-ended scheme, you can ask mutual fund to give money. They will give. And if it is a closed-ended fund, you can go to the stock market. There you can sell the mutual fund and take money. And it is well regulated by SEBI. The Securities Exchange Board of India is a regulator, and that regulator actually, he takes care of the interest of the common investors. So it is actually, it regulates the very carefully so that no investor interest is affected. That is actually, because that's why they give so many guidelines. They give so many guidelines for how much they can charge, for which scheme, how much they can charge. All these things are regulated by SEBI. And it is easy to, even if you are having 1,000 also, you can invest in mutual fund. Even if you are, so it is invest in small amounts. This is one avenue available. And low cost also, because they will be investing on behalf by mobilizing people from many people. So that large scale economy, that is actually, that advantage cost will be reduced. These are the advantage why we should invest in mutual fund. And mutual fund structure actually, mutual funds cannot be, there are 44 mutual fund companies in India, and there can be, mutual fund can be started by a sponsor only. The sponsor means it should be a financial institution which is having the positive net worth during the last 5 years, and it should have unblemished record, and trustworthiness it should have. And during the last 3 years, it should have earned profits. That financial company or bank, it can start a trust, and it will appoint trustees, and they will actually engage asset management company for taking care of day-to-day operations, that is mobilizing money and investment. And whatever securities they are acquiring, that will be held by custodian. Another is different from asset management company, and that custodian is also appointed by trustees. Both asset management company and custodians are appointed by trustees. And asset management company can appoint distributors, they distribute, and bankers, collecting bankers for collecting money and clearing checks, funds, and fund accountant for calculating NAV, and also for registrar and transfer agents. The registrar and transfer agents, their main job is actually, the registrar is actually to process the applications and to maintain records, and for either for investment or redemption, this will be processed by RTAs, that is registrar and transfer agents. And types of mutual funds, there are actually so many types as per organization structure. Open-ended funds are there. Anyone can, one can invest anytime and one can exit anytime from this mutual fund. Closed-ended funds, we can enter only during the NFO period, that is new fund offer. When it is launched, at that time only you can invest. But if you want to exit, you can also exit by selling these schemes only in the stock exchange. Because mutual fund company, in case of closed-ended funds, they will not give money in between. But you can go to stock exchange where it is listed and you can encash it. Interval funds, because just 2 or 3 days before maturity, mutual fund company will send an advice to us. Your investment is maturing on so and so date. If you want the further investment, renewal, reinvestment, then you give your consent. If you want reinvestment, you have to give your consent. For the same period, it will be reinvested. Otherwise, it will be credited to your account. And then portfolio management, because there we can also classify mutual fund, active funds and passive funds. Active funds means fund manager should take a very active role in management of fund. He should watch the market every day, and he has to, according to the changes in the market, he should change the portfolio also. That is actually which company shares he has to sell, which he has to buy. All these decisions will be taken by the fund manager in active fund. Passive funds, these are actually just like our index funds, where actually what happens in case of passive funds, people invest people invest in index funds like Sensex fund or Nifty fund are there. Because here fund manager has no much liberty. In case of Sensex funds, we can fund manager can invest in only those 30 companies in which proportion that index is compiled. So he has to do it accordingly. Irrespective of the market changes, he cannot change the investment. So they are called passive funds. But active funds, fund manager takes an active role. He will charges. He can charge up to 2.25% in equity. But in case of passive funds, it is only up to 1% they will charge. Because next, as per objective also, if the objective of the investor is growth, they will invest in growth funds, that is equity. And if investor wants income, then they will invest in debt funds, that is in government bonds and also debentures. And then hybrid funds, if any investor wants, my fund is to be grown and also I should get some regular income, then mutual funds invest some amount in equity and some amount in debt, so that equity will grow and debt will give income. Then according to the investment portfolio, equity funds, if we invest in equity market, it is equity funds. If we invest in debt securities like bonds and debentures, it is debt funds. Hybrid funds, if we invest in both equity and debt market. And liquid funds, these are the funds invested in money market. Money market, that is in treasury bills, commercial papers, or certificate of deposits. These are the important papers in liquid money market available. Other funds, actually, some exchange traded funds are there. These are also mutual funds. But here what happens, you can buy or sell only through stock exchange. For this, you need Demat account also. And here in exchange traded fund, what you can do in one of the stock exchanges, you can do it actually. Gold ETF, here in gold ETF, because these are actually given separately in fund wise. So mutual fund categorization, equity, debt, hybrid, solution oriented, and other schemes. First, these are 5 categories. First, equity schemes. When mutual funds invest in equity market, it is equity funds. Invest in equities and equity related instruments of companies, seeking long-term growth but volatile in the short term. Because the equity market is actually in the short term, it is highly volatile. You are observing since last 6 months, because of the COVID effect, actually, the market went from 42,000 to went down to 26,000, and now it has come to 38,800. So during these last 7 to 8 months, what happened we are seeing. In such circumstances, that's why in equity, it is highly volatile. So in the short term. So for long-term investment only, we suggest equity funds. And it is suitable for investors with higher risk appetite, because the equity fund is actually subject to high risk also, because it also potentially is there for higher returns, but higher risk is also there. For those who can take this only, we suggest equity funds. And multi-cap fund, the equity funds are different categories. Here we should understand, in equity there are 3 caps. One is actually large cap. Top 100 companies are called large cap. What are top 100 companies? According to the market capitalization, that is the number of shares issued by a company multiplied by market value of each share, is called market capitalization. If you take the top 100 companies, if you take Reliance, that is number 1, that is the topmost company in India now. It is a large cap. So top 100, like that, next 99, these top 100 companies are also called large cap. Next, the next 150 companies, 101 to 250 companies, according to the market capitalization, they are called mid cap. And the rest of the companies, about 250 companies, are called small cap. In large cap, because these are large companies, they are having huge capital. The base market capital is there, so the risk will be a little bit lower, and liquidity will be more. And mid cap, it is medium, and small cap, high risk and high potential are there. So in multi cap fund, actually, this definition in the slide is changed by SEBI actually 2 days back. And now they said that in multi cap, if we invest a minimum 25% in large cap, 25% in mid cap, and 25% in small cap, then it is called multi cap fund. So minimum 25% in each cap, and balance amount in one cap, it can be more also, but it cannot be lesser than 25%, because so that 100% will be distributed like that. Large cap fund, if we invest 80% of the portfolio, the amount mobilized in top 100 companies, it is large cap. Next, large and mid cap fund. Here actually we have to invest minimum 35% in large cap and 35% in mid cap. Balance amount you can invest, because you can invest more in large or mid or like that. Mid cap fund, minimum 65% you have to invest in 65%, and balance amount you can invest in other caps also. Small cap fund, minimum 65%. If you invest about 250 companies, it is small cap fund. Balance amount you can invest in other cap. Dividend yield fund, because if you invest minimum 65% of the stocks in companies shares which are giving which are frequently which are actually declaring dividend. So those companies, they are called dividend yield funds. Minimum 65% of such companies who are declaring stock, that companies, they are called dividend yield fund. Value fund, value funds actually, the value fund means fundamentally they are strong. Those companies tips are strong, but they are immediately not picked up the market value. So that is called the value funds. Value funds actually, they move according to the market. If market goes up by 10%, value funds also goes by 10. If it falls by 10%, it falls by 10%. But here actually, it will move as per the market, not in case of growth funds, if market increases by 10%, growth funds increase by more than 10%. And if they fall by 10%, growth funds fall by more than 10%. But value funds, they move as per the market. And minimum 65% has to be invested. Next, contra funds. Contra funds is a contrarian approach, because if one segment is actually doing very well, the fund manager may invest the next best, which has potential. He will invest in that. Sorry. It is called contra fund. Next, focused fund. Fund manager, he selects about 30 stocks, minimum stocks, and he invests in those stocks only. This is called focused fund, because he has focus on those funds. Yeah, and according to his evaluation, those funds, stocks will give good returns. Next, sectoral means if we invest in stock of only one particular sector, they are called sectoral fund, like IT fund, pharma fund, etc. Next, thematic funds. Thematic fund means as per theme. If we invest, for example, infrastructure is a theme. If we invest 80% of the fund amount in the companies related to that theme, for example, in infrastructure, cement, steel, power are there. If we invest only these limited sectors, it is called thematic funds. Next, ELSS, equity linked savings scheme. This is for tax saving purpose. This is actually under section 80C. People will be investing in this one. Then here the lock-in period is only 3 years, whereas in other avenues it is higher than. This is SEBI has given and the tax authorities have given. Government has given this permission for ELSS. And this is actually, one can invest up to 1.5 lakhs for saving in section 80C. and invest predominantly in equity, and shortest lock-in period is 3 years because nowhere else is available. Only in mutual fund, this 3 years lock-in period is available. And debt schemes, if we invest in different types of fixed income securities, that is government bonds, debentures, and corporate bonds, if we invest, they are called, they are invest. This is for the purpose of income, actually, regular income, they invest. In, of course, debt funds, they are overnight funds. One can invest in mutual fund for 1 day also. They are called overnight funds. And if they invest for in securities maturing within 91 days, then they are called liquid funds. And if they invest in 3 to 6 months securities maturing within 3 to 6 months, it is ultra short-term fund. And like that, it is 6 to 12 months, it is low duration. And if they in securities maturing within 1 year, it is money market fund. And 1 to 3 years, it is short duration fund. If we invest in securities, that is bonds and corporate bonds and debentures maturing within 3 to 4 years, it is called medium duration fund. And if it is 4 to 7 years, it is medium to long. And above 7 years bonds, if we invest, it is long duration fund. Dynamic bond fund means actually, irrespective of the duration, the fund manager, wherever opportunities are there, he will invest in overnight, and he will also invest in the 7 years and above bonds also. There it is called dynamic bond. As per the market conditions, fund manager will invest. Corporate bond fund means they invest 80% of the amount in quality bonds, because you know the rating agencies, CRISIL, ICRA, these are there because they give credit rating. AAA means highest safety for the principal. AA means high safety. So if you invest in, they invest in AA and AAA securities, that is 80% minimum. If they invest in AA and above securities, then it is called corporate bond fund. So these are quality papers. Whereas credit risk fund are there. Credit risk funds actually, they invest in below AA rated bonds also, because mutual funds can also invest in BBB and A, AA and AAA also. So if they invest in below AA instrument, that is A and BBB, up to 65%, it is called credit risk fund. Here risk will be high, but returns also will be higher. That is we have to remember. And if we invest in banking and PSU fund securities, it is called banking and PSU fund. Gilt funds means if we invest 80% in the minimum 80% in government securities, it is gilt fund. And if we invest in 10 years constant duration government bonds, it is gilt fund. Floater fund is actually, their rate of interest is actually not mentioned on the bond, but as per market they will pay. It is called floater bond fund. And hybrid fund, they invest some amount in equity and some amount in debt instruments. These are hybrid funds. In hybrid funds actually, because equity amount, it gives growth, whereas debt amount, that will give income. So if the objective is both, then they invest in hybrid fund. There are so many types. Conservative hybrid fund means only 10 to 25% they invest in equity, balance 75 to 90% debt. It is conservative. If anyone is actually want to take higher risk and higher return, they will invest in aggressive hybrid fund. There is minimum 65% to 80% they invest in equity, balance 20 to 35% in debt instrument. That is aggressive. And if we invest 40 to 60% in equity and balance in debt, it is called balanced hybrid fund. And a dynamic asset allocation fund is also there. There is no percentage, how much in debt, how much in equity. But as per the market conditions, if you invest, it is called dynamic asset allocation fund. And multi-asset allocation fund. Multi-asset allocation fund means actually people invest in more than two classes of asset. That is debt, equity, and gold. If we invest, it is multi-asset allocation, because the equity is one class of asset, debt is another class of asset, gold is another class of asset, and real estate is another class of asset. Arbitrage fund, because because arbitrage means actually there are two markets in there are two prominent stock markets in India, that is BSE and NSE. And in arbitrage fund, what happens? If any script is listed in both these stock exchanges, if it is quoted low in one exchange and high in another exchange, he can buy here and sell in another stock exchange. It is called arbitrage fund. And also he can invest in ready market and also today's market, and he can enter into a forward contract. And for the 2 months or 3 months, and if that rate is favorable, he can invest today and he can sell it after as per the forward contract period matures. That is 2 months or 3 months. That is called arbitrage fund. That is difference in market amount only is. And equity savings, equity and equity regulator scheme, minimum 65% amount is actually invested in equity, balance debt amount minimum 10%, and they also invest in derivatives. These derivatives are only meant for purpose of hedging, because mutual funds will not do derivative trading. They invest in derivatives only to safeguard their positions. That we have to remember. And solution oriented fund, who needs solution actually? Those who do not, this means only financial solution. Retiring after retirement to continue our income, we need retirement fund. So if we start when we are in service, if we start saving, then at the time of retirement, we can get something from that. This is actually retirement fund and children fund. These are long duration plan. So children also, after 18 years, they need actual children requirement will be there for higher education and also for the marriage. Or for that purpose, they invest in retirees after 60 and children are generally mostly after 18. For that they use, but this minimum lock-in period of 5 years, because they invest in long-term securities, because these are not short-term funds. Next, index funds are there that we already discussed. Sensex is actually 30 scripts and Nifty 50 scripts. There, if we invest in those scripts only, that is index fund. ETF, exchange traded fund, that is public sector's securities. If they create a basket of 10 to 15 companies, and that ETF they can be created, and fund of funds also is there. If mutual fund company mobilize money in the name of one fund, if they invest in another fund of the same company or another company, it is called fund of funds. And these are actually important actually funds. And of course, ETF, for doing ETF, exchange traded fund, in case of mutual funds, what happens actually, you will get the benefit of only closing value will be taken. But in case of ETF, you will get a real value, because stock market, you know that 9 o'clock to 3:30 it will be there, because 9 o'clock to opening price will be something, and 10 o'clock rate may be different, 11 o'clock it may be different. If you want to take advantage of real value, real time value, then you can go for exchange traded fund. You can invest by watching the stock market, you can invest also. But for this, you need demat account and also this brokerage account also you need. These are the ETFs. And gold exchange traded fund, here actually gold exchange traded fund, what happens actually, they invest in physical gold or gold deposit schemes. But they invest in gold, physical gold, but they will not give in physical gold to us. But we have to invest in today, what is the gold rate? That is international market rate. That is per ounce. That is the how much rate is there, that we have to, that will be calculated. Here actually, unit is actually 1 gram. In gold exchange traded fund, unit is 1 gram. For 1 gram, today's international prices, they will calculate in Indian rupees and they will ask you to invest. This is gold exchange traded fund. But you are investing money only, and at the time of redemption, on that day, what is the international market price, that will be calculated, and that day NAV only will be paid. But gold will not be given to you. That's why it is exempted from wealth tax. And if you hold funds for more than 3 years in this one, you will get some capital gain tax benefits also. This is gold exchange. International funds, mutual funds also invest in companies listed abroad, and also AD, American Depository Receipt, and global deposit receipts also. These are also, they invest, but here exchange risk also will be there, and also exchange risk, and also that of course in the political risk also will be there in international funds. Our relations with that country is also. Of course, fund of funds, we already discussed. We will be mobilizing money in one fund and investing in another fund. Arbitrage fund we covered. That is the difference in two markets, ready market and stock, and also the future forward market, or in one exchange to another exchange. That we already discussed. Mutual fund scheme, which one to buy? Because which scheme we have to invest. Here we have to see, because it depends upon risk appetite of the investor also. And also, so we have to see risk matrix. What is how much risk we have to take? What will be the return? If you take higher risk and if you want higher returns, then you have to go for equity. If you want to take moderate risk and moderate returns, you have to go for hybrid schemes. If you want to take low moderate risk, then you have to and low moderate returns, then you have to invest in debt schemes. If you do want to take only low risk only and low returns, you are satisfied, then you go for liquid schemes. That money will be invested in money market. This is actually, that is, in debt funds, overnight funds are lowest risk, then liquid funds, ultra short term. As the debt oriented, if you go, that is actually, this is actually debt funds are moderate risk, but in this moderate also, which one is low, which one is high? That is debt oriented hybrid fund, that is high. But equity, sectoral funds are highest risk because you are investing in only one sector. So if anything happens to that sector, the possibility of losing your maximum amount is there. And if you invest in equity savings fund or arbitrage fund or equity oriented hybrid, it will low. But equity is only high risk, but here it will be risk you can reduce to some extent. And schemes related document. For investing in mutual fund, what are the documents we have to verify? If you have to verify scheme information document, because for every scheme there will be 3 documents. Scheme information document, it gives information about the scheme, and statement of additional information. Statement of additional information gives information about the fund house. Key information memorandum, it is an abbreviated version of these two. For every application you are investing, this scheme will be attached. It gives information about the scheme and about the fund house also. Every fund house have to publish fact sheet every month. It gives all the running schemes. What is how much amount it mobilized, where it is invested, in which company, and also what is its NAV, who is the fund manager, what is the expenses ratio, what is the risk parameters, everything they will be advised in fact sheet. And there are in mutual funds actually, there are 2 plans, direct plan and regular plan. Direct plan means actually what happens if the investor is having enough knowledge about the mutual funds or market, then he can invest in direct plan. Otherwise, he has to take the advice of an advisor. Then it is called, if one invests by taking advice, then it is called regular plan. Direct, because in the direct plan, expenses ratio will be lower, whereas in regular plan, it will be a little bit higher. And there are the 2 options are also there. Growth option, if you invest money and if you do not want anything in between, you want to, whatever growth is there, if you want to retain it in the mutual fund, then you have to go for growth option. And if you, whatever growth is there, if you want to take it as a dividend, then you have to go for dividend option. And modes of investment, you can invest lump sum amount, you can invest monthly or fixed regular amount, systematic investment plan, and otherwise you can also invest in systematic transfer plan. That means you can invest lump sum amount with the mutual fund, and you can ask mutual fund, by every month you transfer 10,000 rupees or 20,000 to my account with so and so bank. So to meet my expenses, they will transfer. That is systematic transfer plan. That means you have to invest lump sum amount with the mutual fund, ask them to credit partial amount, the regular amount to others. Next, in the switches, if you invest in one scheme and if it is not doing well, you can switch to another scheme. It is called switch option is there. And then SIPs, you know that it is only fixed regular interval, fixed amount only you will be investing. This is systematic investment plan. Similar to monthly savings scheme. Just like in banks, recurring deposit, how you are every month paying. Here also you are every month, same amount you are investing. Of course, you can also give trigger option for changing it. But systematic investment plan, this is actually best option actually. To reduce risk and to take rupee averaging, cost averaging, you will be investing in when the market is low and when the market is high also. This is systematic investment plan. And and systematic withdrawal plan is there. If you invest big lump sum amount, and if you want to take only lower partial amount, we already discussed it. If you want mutual fund company to transfer a portion of the amount, fixed amount to every month to your account, they will transfer. It is systematic withdrawal plan. How to invest in mutual fund? It is actually, for investing in mutual fund, everyone should have a bank account. And if he wants to invest more than 50,000 rupees per month, he should have a PAN card. Otherwise, mutual fund, these are two are compulsory. And KYC is required. Of course, KYC is that is actually address proof and identity proof. Aadhaar card, passport, telephone bill, these are Aadhaar proof. Identity card, PAN card, Aadhaar card, passport, voter card, these are there. You can invest both in physical mode and online mode also. That is, in physical mode, you can fill the application and give it to your agent or to the mutual fund office or to the registrar and transfer agent also you can give it. And next, online mode, what happens? That you can give a check or a bank draft also you can give. But if you give bank draft, you have to attach a letter from the bank. That draft is issued by debit to your account only. Next, online mode. The websites of the respective mutual fund, because every mutual fund is having website. Through the online also you can invest, or through the registrar and transfer agent also is having different mutual fund. To which mutual fund you want to invest, you can also invest. And how to withdraw your money? You can also withdraw online. Offline means transaction slip, you will give redemption form, very simple form. You can say either units or money. If you want to withdraw entire thing, you can say all your units, you can tell it. And if it is online mode, actually, log on to the online transaction page of you can also, you can go to the online, you can log in and you can go to the redemption choice and you can click in there. You have to mention amount or units. This is online. Because in offline, you can give it to the mutual fund company or registrar transfer agent or any distributor. But in online, you can do it on your system by login with your ID and password. And performance evaluation, actually, mutual funds actually, how to evaluate whether the scheme is doing well or not, how to evaluate its performance. This can be, because first we have to see what are the risks, what is the return, and also we have to compare what is whether persistence performance is there or not. Consistent performance is consistent performance is there or not. These things we have to take. Then only we can invest. These so the returns and risk both we have to see, and also whether our investment is shorter or longer investment. These things we have to see. And then NAV. If you want to invest in mutual fund at the time of if it is actually when the scheme is newly started in new fund offer, you can invest. Generally, NAV will be 10 rupees. That is face value. You can invest at face value. That is 10 rupees. But after the NFO is over, when it is at that time, you have to, if you want to invest after NFO period, you have to invest only at market rate. That is called NAV. That market rate, how it is calculated, all the investment in that scheme will be, market value will be calculated, and from that expenses will be reduced, and the amount to be received, that will be added, and that will be divided into the number of units, so that you will get each unit what is the market value. You can buy units at that rate only. You can sell units at that rate only, NAV. And product labeling. For mutual fund, everyone will talk about risk. And what is the level of risk it is having? There is a riskometer is introduced by SEBI. And this riskometer they will give, for every product we sell, we have to, mutual fund companies, they have to exhibit what type of risk it is having, whether it is low, moderately low, or moderate risk, or moderately high risk, or high risk. This is called this riskometer, and this riskometer will indicate whether the product is having high risk or low risk or moderate risk. These things, it will be available. And nomination facility is there in mutual fund. One can give 3 nominees, and if he can mention each nominee how much percentage he will get it. If they do not give it, then equally all the nominees will be given paid amount. And that is because nomination is important, because in case of death of any investor, the funds will be, units will be transmitted in the name of the nominee. It is actually without any legal or any other cost. Otherwise, there you have to follow certain conditions like legal head certificate, all these things, which is time taking and also cost consuming. To avoid that one, it is better to give nomination. And for compliance on any mutual fund, anything, there will be one investor relation officer for every mutual fund company. And you can lodge a complaint with them. If you want to directly lodge a complaint with the SEBI, you can do it online also. It is called SCORES. That is actually SEBI compliance online redressal system. They will redress your complaints actually. This is about mutual fund. And we have a doubts on there. You can raise. You can unmute the phone and you can raise the doubts. Hello, my dear friends.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No.
So, is there any other content that you would like to give, sir?
Sir,
Or shall we go for question answers?
you can go for question answers.
Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Upadhyaya Subramanian Garu. Thank you for the nice seminar on elaborated and elongated information on the investment schemes. So the floor is open for questions. Anyone who is having any questions? Yes, we have one participant, Vijay Garu. Yes,
Vijay, please tell.
I'll be closing the sharing.
Good morning, Andy.
Good morning. Tell me, ma'am.
I'm working in a central government office, and you must be like you can imagine that we are very much not aware of all these things. Not aware means we know mutual funds and we should invest in all that, but finally, how much time should we give? Like we don't like to, or not we means I especially don't like to go into this every day. Should maybe once a month I would be interested in doing these things or something. So how much time should we invest? Time, I mean to say, and how do we manage and how do we approach a person who can manage our funds?
A good question, ma'am. Actually, in which type of funds you are investing, that is more important. Because if it is for short-term purpose, you are investing in liquid funds. లిక్విడ్ అంటే మనీ మార్కెట్ లో ఇన్వెస్ట్ చేస్తారమ్మా. అది మీరు ఒక రోజుకి పెట్టచ్చు, 3 నెలలకు పెట్టచ్చు, 1 వీక్ పెట్టచ్చు, బట్ యూ కెన్ ఎర్న్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్. అలాంటప్పుడు ఎవ్రీడే మీరు చూడవలసిన పర్లేదు. లిక్విడ్ మార్కెట్, లిక్విడ్ ఫండ్స్, వీటికి మనీ మార్కెట్ మీరు అట్ ఈస్ ఎ లో రిస్క్ మార్కెట్. అది తర్వాత మీరు కనుక లాంగ్ టర్మ్ ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్ చేశారనుకోండి, ఈక్విటీ ఫర్ పర్చేజ్ ఆఫ్ ఎ హౌస్ ఆర్ ఫర్ చిల్డ్రన్స్ మ్యారేజ్, ఎనీథింగ్ ఫర్ లాంగ్ టర్మ్ పర్పస్, ఫర్ రిటైర్మెంట్ పర్పస్, if you invest, అటువంటి సందర్భాల్లో then what you have to do is actually not 1 month for equity market, once in 6 months actually we will review our portfolio. Some people do it 3 months also, quarterly also, but on day-to-day basis or monthly basis also it is not advisable. You can review once in 3 months, but in 1 month if any scheme is not done well, then don't change it immediately. You give some time for it, because sometimes for some market may not be good for one sector or one cap, a large cap or mid cap or anything. So you don't be carried by only 1 quarter performance or 1 month performance. because you are taking investment decision by taking into account that consistent performance for 3 years or 5 years or 1 year. So,
one
but
second,
definitely,
I would like to go for moderate risk, and this 3 to 5 years one I would like to go. So how much time do I invest and how regularly do I check it?
better 3 months. Once in 3 months you review. And one more thing you have to remember, like any COVID such circumstances, you should not become panic and come out of the market now. Because what happened, the market has fallen from 42,000 to 26,000 Sensex. But here actually, but what happened, if people are coming out, they are actually ultimately incurring heavy losses. But this is actually, we should, that is the best opportune time for investment. Of course, and the economy will recover, that is, it will take some time. We know that vaccine, if do not come this year, next year, within 6 months, it should come, vaccine. So, because that risk period you can also assess. So this situation will continue for another 6 months. Like already 6 months we suffered. Another 6. So this is an opportune time for investment. And
can I interrupt here? I'm Nikunj here.
Please, sir.
Yeah, madam, as sir is mentioning, that investments should be in line with our goals.
Yes,
so if you have some short-term goals, invest in debt, long-term goals, equity. Frequency of observation of portfolio or review of portfolio could be about 3 to 6 months, as sir is mentioning. And third thing which he has mentioned is sometimes equity markets can be volatile. So do not take any decision in a hurry or on the basis of your emotions. It will be better that you have an advisor or somebody who understands markets who can guide you in such situations. I just thought I'll summarize it.
Yeah, so the last question was this: how do we go for a good advisor, because we are knowing less and we are depending, and later on how we are depending totally on him sometimes to assess the market. So this thing, does any, like, you know, some sort of a ranking is there for these people or anything, so that we can approach the right advisor by paying him fees or something? Is there anything, or we have to just go by known word of mouth?
Okay, madam, there are 2 ways to do it. First is choosing a person who can advise you. Now, SEBI has clarified that there are people who are investment advisors and there are people who are distributors. Distributors earn a commission from the mutual fund. They will not advise you in terms of where to invest. They can just give transactions to you. They are only transaction facilitator. Some advice is incidental to their business. For example, you may say, I have a 1 week's money. He will say, okay, invest in liquid fund. That is an incidental advice, which is part of their business.
Yes.
Distributors cannot charge you a fee. They get their income from mutual funds, but distributors cannot advise you. That's one. Yes. Investment advisors may charge you a fee because they do not earn anything from the mutual funds. Now, choosing a good advisor you need to undertake few things. One, what is this person's qualification? Has he cleared the SEBI exam 10A, 10B, which, you know, helps him register as a investment advisor? That's one. What is his experience in the market? I may have cleared the exam. I'm a student. I'm very intelligent, but I've cleared the exam. Can I be a good advisor if I don't have an experience? So you please check what their experience has been. What other qualifications are there? And we generally feel that it is better that one starts with couple of advisors and deals with them, and along the way you will understand who's acting in your interest. It is like choosing a doctor or a lawyer.
Exactly.
Yeah, so somebody will give you reference that, you know, such a such doctor is very good, but still you go there and experience yourself.
Exactly.
So our sense is, just as our life, this is also a part of our life, which may be a bit of hit and trial, but some bit of risk can be avoided if you can ask the advisor to share his credentials, his resume, his experience, few references. That may help, because after all, it is our hard-earned money.
Yes. True. Thank you so much. Because my father has been with an advisor for last maybe 10-15 years. But my father again goes for his own investment, and I say, why do you don't listen to him? No, he doesn't know anything. I know better than him, he'll say.
Yeah. So,
And I
yeah,
said,
and
no, we
today,
could.
today we are very fortunate that our regulator SEBI has driven a line between the distribution business and advisory business. So, advisor has to be a person who's really capable of giving you advice and who has a relevant experience.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Subramaniam, you can please continue. Sorry, I interrupted.
No,
No,
sir.
no.
You're
Yeah,
right.
my doubt is over. Yeah, thank you. Clarified, I mean.
Thank you, thank you. So next,
Sir, in my chat, there are some queries.
yes, ma'am.
Can you please tell us on the investment avenue in real estate investment trust?
Hello.
Can you please tell us hello, sir, can you hear me? Can you please tell us
Yes,
on the
ma'am.
investment avenue in real estate investment trust? Do
Real
we have
estate
any fund
investment.
that,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Real estate,
do we have?
because you know the concept real estate investment trust. Actually, real estate investment, they pool money from the people and they invest because this happens generally in tourist places and also pilgrimage places. They construct lodges and house, and of course in America it is very famous. They construct housing colonies also, and they give it on rent. That rent amount will be distributed among the investors. Because there will be appreciation in the value, but the return will not be that big, ma'am. Here actually, if you see return will not be that much because heavy investment and returns will not be that heavy. Because that we have to remember here.
Sorry, I am interrupting here again. I think some of these questions can better be answered by investment advisors. We are just providing training on this call. REIT are good options, but I think one has to read the offer document, read which AIF is running them, and consult an advisor before advising into them because there are different products. So getting into details of those products may be outside the purview of this call. Thanks.
Great. And we have another user, Mr. Sampath Kumar from Rotary Club Uyuru. Yes, sir, please.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. Chala detailed presentation mutual funds మీద ఇచ్చారు. Very detailed presentation. So first request ఏంటంటే ఏదైనా అవకాశం ఉంటే ఈ presentations మా ఆర్సీ విశాఖపట్నం ద్వారా ఏదైనా చేయడానికి అవకాశం ఉంటుందా మా అకాడమిక్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ కోసం. సో ఫస్ట్ క్వశ్చన్. సార్ ఐఎమ్ కపుల్ ఆఫ్ క్వశ్చన్స్ నేను ఒకటి తర్వాత ఒకటి అడిగినా సార్ క్వశ్చన్ అడిగిన తర్వాత మీరు ఆన్సర్ చేస్తారా సార్?
నేను అడగండి ఫస్ట్ క్వశ్చన్ మీరు అంటే కెన్ యూ కండక్ట్ సమ్ మోర్ ప్రోగ్రామ్స్ లైక్ దిస్? yes, we will conduct. We are ready.
ఓకే. సో ఇప్పుడు ఈ మ్యూచువల్ ఫండ్స్ ఆపరేట్ చేయాలి అంటే డిమేట్ అకౌంట్ కావాలా కంపల్సరీగా?
No. అదే మ్యూచువల్ ఫండ్స్ లో 2 types are there. For only exchange traded funds, you need a demat account. Or if you do not want to have physical units, if you want to keep your unit invested in only demat format, then you should go for demat account. Otherwise, you need not have demat account. You can have only by debit to your account. But if you give your check, we will invest in mutual fund. But then we will give you a statement of account. That is called physical format only, we call it.
సో డిమాట్ అకౌంట్ లేకుండా స్ట్రైట్ అవే ఇప్పుడు మ్యూచువల్ ఫండ్స్ యొక్క వెబ్సైట్ లోకి వెళ్ళి మేమే స్ట్రైట్ అవే ఆన్లైన్ ద్వారా ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ చేసుకోవచ్చు సార్?
Demat account you have to open with a demat depository participant. That is generally banks. Because not all branches are authorized to open demat account. You have to go to the authorized branches to maintain demat account. You have to open demat account there.
So
then after opening the demat account, tell me.
సార్ మేడం గారు అడిగారు, దానికే ఫర్దర్ గా అడుగుతున్నాను. కింద మీ ప్రెజెంటేషన్ లో కూడా మన ఇండియాలో 34 మ్యూచువల్ ఫండ్స్ కంపెనీస్ ఉన్నాయి. ఇప్పుడు ఈ 34 మ్యూచువల్ కంపెనీస్ ఉన్నప్పుడు ఒక సాధారణ ఇన్వెస్టర్స్ కి అసలు ఏ మ్యూచువల్ ఫండ్ కంపెనీ నుంచి మనం ఇన్వెస్ట్ చేయాలి, ఎటువంటి పోర్ట్ఫోలియోస్ సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకోవాలి, లేదా ఉన్న దాంట్లో అసలు ఏది బెస్ట్ మ్యూచువల్ ఫండ్ అన్నది ఒక సాధారణ ఇన్వెస్టర్ కి ఎట్లా తెలుస్తుంది సార్?
అదే యాక్చువల్గా మీరు యూ కెన్ గో టు దేర్ వెబ్సైట్స్. దట్ ఈస్ నెంబర్ 1 ఆప్షన్. అదర్వైజ్ దేర్ ఆర్ సర్టన్ రేటింగ్ ఏజెన్సీస్ లైక్ వాల్యూ రీసెట్, మార్నింగ్ స్టార్, like that. They will be giving you so many inputs. Actually, this is actually in this large cap category, these mutual fund schemes are doing well. Their performance is last 3 years this month, 1 year this month, 5 years like that. You can also go through them. You can also go through them.
సో అట్లాగే జనరల్ కామన్ పర్సెప్షన్ ఏంటంటే మ్యూచువల్ ఫండ్స్ లో చార్జెస్ చాలా ఉంటాయి, హిడెన్ చార్జెస్ చాలా ఉంటాయి, ఎంట్రీ ఫీజ్ అని ఎగ్జిట్ ఫీజ్ అని సర్వీస్ చార్జెస్ అని ఫీజెస్.
It is a good question asked by you. Correct. There is no entry fees in mutual fund. That is number one. You please keep it in your mind. There is no mutual entry fees in mutual fund. That is number one. Number two, if you are investing in equity funds, if you do not, if you keep your investment for more than 1 year, then there is no exit fees. If you come out by joining, if you come out before 1 year only, they will charge 1% exit load. You remember that?
Yes.
And charges are actually regulated by SEBI, and no mutual fund company can charge higher rates. This is actually they are allowed only those charges with bare minimum of which mutual funds can run their business. Because of volumes of business, they are surviving. Otherwise, their charges are very low.
సార్ మీ ప్రెజెంటేషన్ లో ఇందాక ఒక పదాలు నేను చూశాను సార్. అండర్లయింగ్ ఫండ్ అనే ఒక పదము, అట్లాగే మనీ మార్కెట్ అనే పదాలు రెండు చూశాను. జస్ట్ క్లుప్తంగా ఒక 2 ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ ఏమని చెప్తారు సార్? అండర్లయింగ్ ఫండ్ కి మనీ మార్కెట్ అంటే ఏంటి అన్న దాని మీద.
అంటే అండర్లయింగ్ ఫండ్ అంటే ఏ కాంటెక్స్ట్ లో వచ్చింది అండర్లయింగ్ ఫండ్? అండర్లయింగ్ ఫండ్ అంటే ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ యూ హావ్ ఇన్వెస్టెడ్ ఇన్ లార్జ్ క్యాప్ ఫండ్ అండి. లార్జ్ క్యాప్ ఫండ్, ఆ లార్జ్ క్యాప్ ఫండ్ అందరు ఎక్కడ ఇన్వెస్ట్ చేస్తాం అన్నది దట్ ఈస్ అండర్లయింగ్ ఫండ్ యాక్చువల్లీ. అండర్లయింగ్ ఫండ్ ఇస్ లార్జ్ క్యాప్. Large cap means in the top 100 companies, the mutual fund company can invest, but they will not invest on all the top 100 companies. If they invest, it will become an index fund only. So fund manager will select some 40 or 50 companies, and where growth potential is there, he will invest there. That is actually for the underlying fund actually. That is underlying fund means that large cap. He will invest where in only the top 100 companies according to the growth oriented, as per his assessment valuation. There will be he will invest. That is number one. Is it clear or not?
Yes sir. Money markets sir. Can you put one example for money market?
Yes, actually there are actually in as far as mutual fund is concerned, 2 markets are important. One is capital market. Capital market is nothing but equity market and debt market. Debt means it deals with the securities which are maturing over a period of 1 year and above. Over a period of 1 year and above only. That is actually debt market. That is government bonds and also debentures. But whereas money market, it is a short-term market. Short-term money market. And money, actually a capital market, you will find a physical place. But whereas money market, the securities, it deals with securities which are maturing in less than 1 year. That is actually treasury bills issued by Government of India. And also the next one is certificate of deposits. When banks want money urgently, they go and borrow in the market. That is actually certificate of deposits. And commercial papers, corporates raise short-term money from the market by issuing the commercial papers. These are all money market actually. And in money market, there is no physical market just like money market, like capital market, stock exchange or anything will not be there for money market. In money market is actually that banks or telephone or over the internet, they will be placing orders and they will be receiving money. This is we have to remember.
So mutual funds scheme అయినప్పుడు మనకి ఏదైనా capital gains tax పడుతుందా సార్?
Sorry sir, I am interrupting here. Basically the money market is a market where government institutions, banks, mutual funds, primary dealers, they are dealing, and most of the lending is for the shorter term, less than 1 year. And it is relatively safer because most of the borrowing and lending is happening over a shorter period, and the credit quality of the instruments which are traded there is generally very high. For example, government securities also get issued in the money market. I just thought I'll add to what sir was saying.
Yeah, got it sir. They all got it.
Yeah, please carry on.
Mutual funds redeem చేసినప్పుడు మనకి ఏదైనా capital gain tax పడుతుందా సార్?
Capital gain, mutual funds.
Capital gain tax.
I'm telling you, capital gain tax, it applies. It is applicable for all funds. there are two types of taxes in mutual fund. One is actually applicable to for mutual fund. One is short-term capital gain tax. The other one is long-term capital gain tax. In case of equity, if you redeem any equity investment before up to 1 year period, then it is subject to short-term capital gain tax. That short-term capital gain tax will be deducted and balance amount will be paid. But if you redeem funds after 1 year in equity investment, then it is actually subject to long-term capital gain tax. Long-term capital gain tax is 10%, but there is a rider that your capital gains exceed 1 lakh rupees only. That is not only mutual fund, stock market also. If it exceeds 1 lakh only, you have to pay 10% capital gain tax. That is as far as equity is concerned. But as far as debt is concerned, any investment made in debt market, in debt funds, up to 3 years maturity period, it is called short-term, it is subject to short-term capital gain tax. If you any investment made beyond 3 years period in debt fund, it is actually subject to long-term capital gain tax. And short-term capital gain tax, it is subject to, it is equivalent to marginal rate of tax. Marginal rate of tax means whatever income you get, you have to add it to your total income, and in whichever slab you are there, you have to pay that rate of tax. Whereas long-term capital gain tax, that means after you have invested in any fixed maturity plan for 3 years, that means 3 years means generally mutual funds give 3 years, 7 days, 3 years, 10 days like that. Beyond 3 years, if you invest, what happens? That it is subject to indexation. Indexation means actually what happens? You invested 1 lakh rupees for 3 years, and for 3 years you got actually after end of the after 3 years are over, you got 9% return. This is hypothetical example. 27,000 you got for 3 years. That 27,000 is not entire 27,000 is not subject to long-term capital gain tax in debt market. But what is taxable is subject to indexation. So you have to see last 3 years, what is the inflation. For example, last 3 years inflation average is 7%. Then for 3 years indexation is actually 21%. So out of 27,000 you received, 21,000 is actually eaten away by inflation. But the beauty in mutual funds is actually when your gain is actually eaten away by inflation, you need not be penalized for that one. You need not pay any tax on that one. So if you received 27,000 after 3 years income, and after and inflation has eaten away 21,000, then that 6,000 is only taxable. That taxability is also 20% flat, irrespective of your tax slabs. That is actually advantage.
Thank you, sir. President, thank you very much, sir, for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Sir, there are some queries in the chat.
Okay.
Do we have any fund that invest in unlisted companies?
Unlisted, actually mutual funds are expected to invest only in listed companies, ma'am. They're permitted
In mutual funds case, there are no funds which will invest in unlisted.
Yes.
Another query is, with Indian GDP is growing -24%, why is the equities decoupled with the economic fundamentals?
Because here actually GDP, it takes into account all the sectors, but including agriculture sector. But whereas in mutual fund, in which scheme you are there and in which sectors they are investing, that only we have to see.
Yeah,
So,
and one more thing I may add.
if you are investing in IT sector, any loss is there, we have to see. If the loss is not there, growth will be there. Like that, pharma means it is not affected by this COVID or anything. So that because in GDP minus growth, pharma will not contribute. Mostly it is manufacturing and other areas, it lost money.
So I would like to add here, sorry, I'm interrupting again, that
No, please.
the GDP growth rate, which we are talking about, negative growth rate, it may be there only for a limited time period, which is short term, which is clearly an impact of COVID. Now, when capital markets investors, when they invest in equity, they take decisions on the basis of long-term interpretations, long-term growth projections of economy. So what this 24% is, this may be a short-term aberration because of the pandemic. But do we have a long-term growth potential in our economy? Clearly, yes. A lot of investors think that there is long-term potential, and that may be one of the reasons why equity markets are vibrant. That's one. There may be liquidity also, which is pushing the markets up. But we are not here to give a view on what will happen on the markets and what is happening is right or wrong. We are just expressing our opinion here. Thank you.
There's another query. Is there any avenue to invest in Forex master markets through fund house?
There are ETFs. Multi-asset funds. But again, before investing, please take due care, read the offer documents, check the mutual fund site, consult advisors, distributors as per your convenience. But yes, there are options are there, but check with somebody who understands them and can guide you.
There's one more query. SEBI is a rogue regulator which does not follow its international peers in terms. What is your take on the SEBI's retail antagonist?
Retail?
Antagonist.
Sorry, the question doesn't seem to be very clear to us. Can you explain it in simpler language? We are not understanding.
Yeah, can the person reframe the question? That will be great.
If the person can unmute and please ask, because he has put in my chat box. Otherwise, I'm
Even I have some questions like that. Correct.
Yeah, but I think in a limited way, I can say there are mutual funds in India who are investing in the markets abroad through ETFs. These mutual funds are regulated by SEBI. So whatever they're doing in the foreign market also, indirectly, SEBI is a rogue regulator. I don't think we agree with that. SEBI is not really a rogue regulator. I think SEBI is a fairly decent regulator, and where Indian capital markets are today, it is largely because of SEBI's efforts. We are one of the better regulated markets in the world. That's my limited opinion here. So please do not call SEBI a rogue regulator. My request. Sincerely. We have also stronger regulations than some of the foreign markets here.
No, we have to accept it, sir. Without regulation, it will become a scam racket everywhere. There should be somebody who is like a big don who has to control all these things.
Our banking industry, capital markets, and of course the insurance, one of the best sectors in the world in terms of regulation.
Exactly. Especially in a democratic country like India, it is literally impossible because everyone starts talking about rights.
Yeah.
He will do his own way. If there is no regulation policy, it can't be controlled.
Yeah. Can we move to the next question, RP?
Yes, I have one question over here. Ma'am, yes, you can finish your questions, then I'll come back.
If we have 5 lakhs in hand, what is the recommended option where I can invest for best returns in long run?
See, it is very difficult to answer because we don't know what your goals are and what is long run here. It is one year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, 10 years. So it will be better that you consult an advisor. He will take stock of what your goals are and he will advise not only category but also a product. Broadly, I think we can say if the money is long term, yes, I think it can go into an equity fund. That's all we can say, but it will depend on your risk appetite. So advisor would be a better person, not educator like us. Sorry.
I'm done with my
Okay, I have a couple of questions here. One of the members is asking, they are actually taking some life insurance policies. Okay. And the bankers are actually giving them options like whether you would like to put this amount into this mutual fund or something like that. Like when they're going for a 25 years plan or 20 years plan, and every year they're spending something like 50,000 to 1 lakh they're investing, and the bank is giving them options to choose which one or something like this. So does this refer to the same thing like going to a mutual fund, or is it totally different?
No, it is totally different. But here I have to tell one thing, sir. The purpose of insurance and investments are different.
Yes.
Insurance purpose is only security, social security. That is to take care of their family afterwards. Whereas mutual funds are only investment. Of course, in a few products they are also clubbed for children insurance and this one. But their main focus is only on investment. Not insurance is not. it is only just an add-on service on a very few schemes of a few mutual fund companies. So here actually focus is on investment. So we should not mix these two. Actually, if for social purpose, they should have insurance policy, and for investment purpose, actually they should go for invest in mutual funds.
Then my question actually, why are the banks giving like that offer? Why are they mixing this both?
We may not be able to comment on that, why banks are pushing one particular product, whether it is insurance and mutual fund. It may be outside the purview of this program. So if this question may be avoided, it will be better.
Fine. And the second one is that if we are taking these mutual funds, do we have a login like a bank account where we can see their performance and returns and everything on a dashboard?
Yeah, today CAMS is providing that. Most of the mutual fund websites also provide you the facility of, checking at least the investments which are there with that mutual fund. Apart from that, there are, I think, distribution companies through which you are investing. They also provide this facility. Otherwise, CAMS sends you an email every month, which gives you practically everything. So online facilities available on mutual fund sites also, distributors and advisor sites also. So one can check. Yeah.
They are giving portfolio returns they are giving, sir. Since investment and also CAGR, compounded annual growth rate also, they are giving. Mutual fund companies are also giving that in the dashboard itself they are giving.
And by the same user, the second query is that earlier in the traditional methods of investment, we used to have physical bonds and paperwork and all these things. And now it is more into digital things. And especially in this COVID, how can our family members know about all our investments? What are there? If there are no paperworks, do we get some kind of alert from
back to your PAN account, and CDSL is sending you a statement every month, which includes even the details of your insurance policy. So your PAN.
Some follow-up is there, right?
Yeah, everything is transparent. Everything is electronically recorded into the systems of the registrars. So whether you are buying an insurance product, mutual fund or equities, everything is recorded. It is traceable by your PAN account.
Yeah, and that's actually my question is also like, is it connected to the PAN card or something?
Yes.
For centralized monitoring. That's
yes,
great.
Absolutely.
Okay. And the last question over here is that if we are investing with someone, can we shift our investments to other mutual fund agency or company or another package?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
It's your choice. Yes,
customer is the investor is the king. Investor is the king, and no objection certificate is not required from anyone.
Okay.
You can shift. Sir.
That's nice. Yes. My questions are also done.
There is
Anyone
one
else?
query here. One query here. Is mutual fund and AMC both are separate entities or same entity? What are their specific roles?
If mutual fund and
AMC both are separate entities or same entity? What are their specific roles?
Asset management company runs the mutual fund. They are responsible for marketing the mutual funds. They are responsible for maintaining the hygiene, dealing with the distributors, investing the amounts. And mutual fund is the trust where all the schemes are there. So it's a bit technical. I hope I've been able to explain. So mutual fund is the trust where all the securities are held, and trustees are responsible for ensuring that all the rules and regulations are followed. And asset management company is the company which is managing the affairs of mutual fund. I hope that's clear.
Any other questions by any participants? Okay, I think we are done with this. Yes, sir. Pankaj ji, any formalities from your side?
No, sir. So finally, I conclude this session. Aarti ma'am, can you permit me?
1 minute.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I'm thankful to you all, sir, but I'm sorry for the first time actually this happened when I will buy.
That happens at digital world. It's a lot of things.
Sorry
Yes.
for the making you to wait. Of course,
Not at all. Not at all. Mr. Pankaj has actually started off, so we didn't actually had any break. That's fine. It's very nice.
So thanks to Shrikant ji for organizing this webinar, and thanks to entire your board members who coordinate all these things, and thanks to my trainer US Sharma sir for delivering a lecture, and thanks to Aarti ma'am for the coordination. Thank you. Thanks from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Pankaj ji. And thank you from Rotary Club of Visakhapatnam for Pankaj for contacting us and communicating about this wonderful program, which has been planned for the last almost 50 days, and now it was successfully done. That is so nice of you, Mr. Pankaj from CIL. Thank you so much from our whole club and all the members of our District 3020. And at the same time, it is such a nice to meet Mr. Subramaniam with a lot of knowledge and experience in the field of financial segment. And special thanks to SEBI for coming ahead with such kind of programs and encouraging the citizens of India to go through them for the better GDP growth of the country. And thank you once again, all of you, especially the SEBI and the CIEL for conducting such programs on a voluntary basis and approaching everyone. Thank you once again. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Good day. Thank you.